Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story, which comes from Lanrico or Lanriso, I believe it is, and it says, my 24 male girlfriend, 20 female, met a guy on PlayStation. We have been dating for over 2 years. Our first Christmas together, I bought her a PlayStation so we could play video games together. A year into the relationship, she met a guy on PlayStation. At first, I thought nothing of it. The guy seemed cool the couple of times I played with him. As time went on, she continued to play with this guy almost every day. They add each other on Snapchat and exchange phone numbers. I start to notice that she seems to be putting less and less effort into me and our relationship. She almost completely ignores her phone while she is playing PlayStation. So most days I am lucky to get more than a good morning and good night message. Granted, I'm not much for small talk or texting in general, but we talk through Snapchat mostly, and she doesn't see my messages all day. We live 45 minutes apart, and throughout most of the relationship, I've been the one to drive up to her twice a week. Lately, because of money issues, once a week. She has slowly started not being in the mood for sex. Used to be twice a week thing, which was perfect for me. Then once a week, now maybe once a month unless I communicate my frustrations about it. She blames low libido and says we should just not have sex until it goes back up. I'm not okay with that. I try to offer a compromise of once a week at least, but she says that if she isn't in the mood, then she isn't in the mood. I feel like I'm expected to just suck it up and deal with it. Sex is important to me in order to feel close to the person I'm with. So that's why there is a lot of talk about it. I've communicated all that with her. Back to the guy. I've overlooked his Snapchats to her, and the guy flat out tells her that he loves her. I tell her that it isn't okay, and she says she tells him not to do that. Later on, she told me that she has distanced herself a bit from him. During this time, I noticed that her attitude towards me changed. She seemed more invested, and it seemed like she actually enjoyed being around me again. She told me the guy has been blowing up her phone, texting her every time he gets on PlayStation, being super needy, etc. This didn't last long, as now she has been playing with him again. Over the last month, she has questioned the relationship because she doesn't feel the spark anymore. I tell her that the spark doesn't last without effort from both sides. Sex is still inconsistent. She doesn't get off anymore when we do. Even after I try my best to make it happen, I've always put her first. Last time we were together, she said that it doesn't do anything for her anymore, so she doesn't want to do it. She pointed out not long ago that she feels pressured for sex, and that is all that I seem to want to do. Our agreement before was once a week, which was never upheld consistently. I do get frustrated with the lack of consistency. I'm always the one who has to initiate because she doesn't like rejection. She blames me and my drive for being too high. I've tried to do things that she used to like that we don't do now. Cuddle while watching Netflix, but she keeps brushing me off with anything I try. I just found out that a year ago, the guy she plays games with went to her house. He lives like 2 states away. I had no clue about it. She claims nothing happened and it was just for a few hours. He was visiting someone in the next state over and asked if he could come over apparently. Today they started playing a game that I like to play, and I asked if I could join their server. It was the guy's server. My girlfriend says that the guy really doesn't want me to play. Some excuse about me messing things up, even though when I got into the game, I found that they were using cheats anyway. I expressed to her how much of a red flag that is, and I don't like the guy. I don't want to be the guy to make her cut things off with him, but I feel like I need to. I've just sent him a message confronting him about him not wanting me to join them to play. No response yet after 2 hours. Any advice would be nice. I want things to work out, but I don't know really what to do. Edit regarding sex. Yes, I do get kind of pushy about it with her. I'm always the one to initiate, so I feel like if I don't push a little, it will never happen again. Once things get rolling though, she seems to get into it, and I ask if she regrets it, and she doesn't, so there is no regret. I don't see an issue with it. It's like when you don't want to do something because you don't think it will be fun, but then do it anyway, and find out it was fun. Status 1. The guy informed my girlfriend of the message I sent him last night. She messaged me today, angry that I would try taking it into my hands without informing her. After some talking, she claims that the guy does respect the boundaries of our relationship, even though he likes her. She also confirmed that the reasoning behind him not liking me and not wanting me to play with them is in fact because I am her boyfriend. No other reason really. I've given her an ultimatum. Him or me. And as I said, we got the girlfriend side on this. We got an update from OP as well, and we got some comments. Starting with Argentina4687, who says she prefers the online dude to you. It's best to end it. She's using both of you. Cut your losses now. SnooGoats4933 says, hey, as another editor says, she has 2 boyfriends, but I also need to point out another flag that should have warned you the relationship is over. You mentioned her saying that she has a low libido, and you looking for a compromise. I understand sex is important to you as validation. However, unless you are able, in this or any relationship you have where something similar happens, to wait out, you should really leave the relationship, because the alternative is forcing yourself on someone you love but doesn't want to have sex. And by forcing, I include coercing/compromising, because the thing is, people are allowed to not want to have sex. P.S. The lack of effort on meeting up and communication also made this a one-way street relationship-wise. You were grasping at straws. One has says, sounds like your girlfriend found someone who doesn't badger her for sex. Yes, it sucks that she's spending time and energy on this other guy. For the amount of time you spend complaining about how you have to talk her into sex, she isn't holding up her end of the deal is pretty awful. I'd be looking for emotional connection elsewhere too. Break up and find someone compatible with your sex drive, and let her find someone who doesn't pressure her. Clever Latin Motto says, I think that maybe you're not experienced with relationships, so let me explain what is happening here. She has spun a fantasy of a relationship with this other boy, but she can't truly date him unless you are out of the picture. The problem for her is that your presence provides her with certainty and comfort. It's not such an easy thing to just walk away from an established relationship. She does understand that leaving you is a risk, and despite everything, she's not sure she's really ready to do that. So what she would like is for you to break up with her. That way the decision is made for her, and she doesn't have to take any responsibility. The other big advantage is that she can reassure herself that she's a good person. She's not dumping you for someone else, you see, because she's not interested in anyone else. Nope, you dump her, and in her sorrow she leans on this friend, and before you know it, they are dating. So do her a favor and just break up with her. Send her a message through her PlayStation that would be appropriate. After that, you block her on your phone and all social media. Then you call up Team U and ask for support for the next few weeks as you go through the grieving process. Big Brad says, so years ago, I was dating a girl and she got a text from a random guy. I'm pretty sure it was a co-worker of hers using a burner phone, but never could prove it. She started texting this guy all the time and was paying less attention to me. She said it was harmless and she didn't even know who he was or what he looked like, so she couldn't possibly like him that way. I told her I'm not telling her what to do, but I just asked, how would it make her feel if I was texting some random girl all the time and not paying attention to her? She stopped texting him that same day. My point is that she cared enough about me to stop caring what some random guy was saying to her. Would your girl do that for you? If not, then it's probably time to leave. So then the girlfriend side of the story was added, and it just started off saying, Jesus Christ, I'm tired of all of you saying I slept with him. I live with my parents. He was only over for a few hours during the day. They work from home. I was faithful to my boyfriend. I had no idea emotional cheating was even a thing. I spent an entire year trying to establish an emotional connection with someone who would give me nothing in return. He refuses to talk about his feelings, claimed he hated to cuddle, told me he wasn't one for small talk, and then we knew everything about each other anyway. So I got tired of doing it all by myself. And now that I've stopped doing all of my regular things, he panics and blames it on a guy I've only met once for a few hours. I am pressured for sex every week to the point where I've gone to my mum crying because he won't leave until he gets what he wants. Yes, I play video games with the online guy, but he also takes my mind off of the real world. The only reason he wants me to stop talking to him is because he thinks I'll start having sex with him again. Because that's all that matters. A while ago, I tried to tell him that things weren't working out, and he sent me an article on how to survive a relationship after the honeymoon phase was over. As of today, he has threatened me with either get rid of my friend or we are breaking up. Do I think I did nothing wrong? No. I know I shouldn't have let myself get so close with my friend, but it's also not just his fault. A lot of the issues we have falls back on my boyfriend. He claims his demands are reasonable and that I need to give in because he's already compromising. Then there was an edit which I believe is coming from the boyfriend side of things again. It says edit after a lot of reflecting. This has been just one huge chain reaction that started early on in the relationship, caused by a lack of communication. We started out pretty normal. We would go out. I'd pay for things typically because she didn't have a job at the time. We would cuddle and do all that new relationship stuff. As things went on, I started giving less. Got comfortable. No more making out, and I would cuddle, and I wouldn't cuddle her back. Put my hand on her, because I'd bring my PlayStation over and play. She would cuddle and watch if I was playing a good story game. I didn't say I hated cuddling. I'm pretty indifferent about it. Get awkward boners, but the touch is nice. I guess I have it pretty drilled into me that touch means sex. Later on, it becomes a rare occurrence that we cuddle. She usually initiated that. I'd stopped paying for her food. My reasoning for this is because she never paid for me, even after getting a job. I communicated this and she paid for DQ once. From what I gather, after meeting the guy, she got attached to him because I wasn't giving as much as I used to the relationship. When things got really bad is when I started thinking I need to do something. Sex releases attachment hormones, so I figured that it would be the best option since any other attempt I made wasn't working, and it was the only thing we did anymore. I tried compromising as stated in the main post, but it seems I pushed too much to try and get it to happen, and that pushed her further away. Now we are here. She is choosing between me and the online guy. I feel that if she chooses me, it is not fair to him for getting caught up in this and that he needs help to move on. I've promised to put in more effort if I am picked. Final update. I went and got my stuff from her house while she was asleep. Gave her parents the Christmas gift my mum made for them. Got my stuff and said my goodbyes. I felt it would be easier for me to move on if I didn't see her. She messages my mum saying that she had planned to talk to me when I got my stuff, but the previous night it was not communicated. We talked about everything and she apologized. She apologized for not listening to me when I told her a year ago that she would become distant with me if she let things go too far. We talked about trying to fix things, but she didn't know whether she would be able to forgive herself or be able to put in the effort. So things just ended there. This is a re-edit of the previous final decision, which we saw. I stay by what I said on that one. If you really wholeheartedly want something, you'll be willing to put in the effort to get it. And that was it from OP in the end. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Our next story does come with an update as well from Silver Wolverine 9833 from the True Off My Chest subreddit saying, learning my boyfriend's native language in secret. I haven't told anyone this, but I wanted to surprise my boyfriend by learning his native language. The last time I visited his home country, a year ago, I noticed that a lot of his friends and family had trouble switching to English around me, and even his sister was too self-conscious to try out her English with me. I also felt like I was missing out so much on culture and humor. I love my boyfriend and want to be an authentic part of his world. I also am passionate about language learning and partaking in new cultures. So I started learning his native language on Duolingo. I currently have over a 150-day streak and I'm nearly finished with the course. I've been practicing for over an hour a day, and I've been watching TV and movies and listening to podcasts in the language. Luckily, the language isn't too different from English. I think I'm getting to be conversationally fluent, and it makes me so happy. I'm visiting his home country again in May, and I can't wait to surprise him and his family by whipping out my new secret power. So OP does update the post and they say, so me and my boyfriend were walking around Copenhagen a week ago, having just arrived and came to a park. I was originally planning on surprising him with my secret by participating in a Danish conversation. But since it would be a few days until we saw his family and friends, I just couldn't wait. It was nearly sunset and the park was so warm and beautiful. We were sitting down in the grass, just people watching, and I told him that I have been keeping a secret from him for a while. I had been learning Danish for him for the past few months because I loved him and wanted to be an authentic part of his life. I was so nervous and relieved to say it. And his eyes widened and he just hugged me for a very long time and smiled and told me that he was so happy. He said that he had an inkling that I was doing something like this because on our shared Spotify playlist, a bunch of Danish songs had begun to pop up. I'd been listening to learn the lyrics. He said he would love to help me with the language. For the rest of the day, we just talked and then had an amazing dinner. It felt like a huge weight had been lifted off my chest. Fast forward a week, and I've been hanging out with his family and friends, and they have all said how shocked they are at how good I am at Danish, having only learned it for 6 months. I can listen and have full conversations with people. It's like a dream come true. I've even made a few jokes. I'm a little slow at speaking and I make some mistakes, but I'm so glad that my hard work has paid off. 45 minutes to 1 hour every day for the past 6 months. Yesterday, we were at a bar and I was speaking with a lot of my boyfriend's childhood friends, just having simple conversations about books and football and jobs, and a lot of them independently came up to my boyfriend later and told him how impressed they were, both with my Danish and with me as a person. Call me selfish, but it just made me so happy to hear that. It's so nice to see how my work has paid off. I think that communicating with people in their native language lets you see their most authentic selves. And so I felt like I got to know them much better than if we just spoke in English. Last night, my boyfriend just reiterated how much he loves me and how impressed and overjoyed he is that I've done this. He said it opens so many doors for me, just in terms of work and living opportunities here, and also how much he and his friends and family appreciate it. Of course, I have lots more to learn, but I think my trip so far has been nothing but a huge success. We've shared so many awesome moments together. I love my boyfriend and his country, and I can't wait to get more fluent. P.S. for all those out there discouraged about language learning, especially as an adult. It is possible and extremely rewarding. Find a reason to do it and don't give up. And OP just adds an additional comment to give some extra information on how they learn. So they said Duolingo is not all I used. I also use language learning with Netflix, watched dozens of hours of TV shows and movies with subtitles, read and translated several H.C. Andersen fairy tales, read a few easy books, listened to Danish podcasts and wrote down helpful phrases and practiced them again and again. I think it'd be impossible to learn from just one method. And now I'm able to speak with actual people, which is the most helpful, just plain immersion. I previously got to an advanced level in French with this method. I think the important thing is just to surround yourself with your target language and to not get discouraged while making mistakes. Of course, I'm far from perfect in Danish. I have so much left to learn, but it is possible for sure. And it's really nice to get a wholesome story from the subreddits every once in a while. I love to hear about it. So well done, OP, for learning that language and immersing yourself. And it just sounds like you've got a wonderful relationship and wonderful future ahead of you from what I'm seeing so far. But just going back to the wholesome point and wholesome stories, as I was reading this story and OP was saying learning my boyfriend's native language in secret, I'm always thinking, oh no, is she going to hear something that she isn't going to like that her family's saying, just because I've read one too many Reddit stories. We've said it before. I can't remember the exact story, but I remember girlfriend learned her boyfriend's language and she picked up on his friends were criticizing her behind her back in their language, and she eventually found this out. So I'm extremely relieved to see it didn't go down that way in this story. I've never fully learned a language or committed to learning a particular language, but there was one point, probably about 8 or so years ago, I was working with a group of Polish people who just started working in the company that I was in. They themselves were very keen to learn English and was always asking about different phrases and stuff like that, and they like picking up, on the random shit that I usually say, like calling people a berk and stuff like that. They're like, what's a berk? And just other random phrases like when you say like jump on the bandwagon or beat around the bush, stuff like that. But whilst talking to them as well, I like to sort of try and pick up some of their language as well, like just hello, how are you, good morning, thanks, just to be polite at the same time. And I thought it was really nice. They found it really nice as well. So I can definitely see how taking that time out, like OP's done 6 months, and committing yourself to a language like that and learning it, how rewarding that would be, especially when you get to show it to like a whole family. I can only imagine how amazing that feeling would be. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What about you? Have you learned a language in adult life, a second language? Maybe you speak multiple. I'd love to know. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved. Truly, it's absolutely incredible. And don't forget, at the very end of the video, there'll be a couple of playlists there that you can click on. They will automatically scroll through all those videos for you. So whatever you're up to, if you're listening, maybe you just popped out for a stroll around in the sunshine. Maybe you're doing a bit of crochet. Someone told me that they was building a house while listening the other day. I was like, what? Come sort my house out. But it will continue to keep scrolling through all those videos for you. Thank you so much for being involved once again, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.